This is The Blockchain Show. The Blockchain Show is a podcast that demystifies and promotes widespread adoption of cryptocurrencies and distributed ledger technology.
Good morning, it's Mark Beecham here again, and I'm in a sunny but cold London to meet with Seema and Alastair from Nuggets. We're going to talk about what is Nuggets, what they see the target audience being, a little about their token sale that's upcoming later on this month, and what their plans are for the future. And now it's time for a regular event schedule. A list of blockchain events coming up in November and December. This Thursday, the 9th, we have the Milwaukee Blockchain Conference, where our friend Steve will be attending. Also, next week, on the 14th of November, we talked to them earlier today, it's the start of the Nuggets public token offering. On the 19th of November, in Birmingham, UK, there's the BitBrum Conference. And on the 28th of November, one I'll be attending is the Blockchain Summit in London, at London Olympia. That's on the 28th of November. I'll be there. Drop me a line and we can hook up for a coffee. And then finally in November, on the 29th and 30th of November, it's the Blockchain Expo North America, and that's in Santa Clara, California. I attended the London version of that event in January this year and I enjoyed it, so thoroughly recommend going along if you're in the neighbourhood. Ian, any from you?
Hello, and to carry on with the events, we've got December, and the events in December are Crypto World Expo in Poland on December the 1st and 2nd. We've also got the Blockchain World Conference on December the 4th in Bangkok. We've got the Latin America Bitcoin and Blockchain Conference in Colombia on December 4th, 5th, as well as a Blockchain and Bitcoin Conference in Malta on the 7th. Going further into December, just before you start thinking about buying all of your Christmas presents, we've got Crypto Space Conference in Moscow on December 8th, 9th. And looking a little bit further ahead, on December 13th, we've got Crypto BlockCon 2017 in Las Vegas. That's December 13th. So if you do want to go to Las Vegas, and that's probably a good time to do it, that's what you should be looking at going to. There's also, on December 16th, 17th, the Global Blockchain Conference in New Delhi in India. And we've got something in January to look forward to, the Blockchain Cruise Asia in Singapore in the middle of January, if you're looking that far out. So if you are thinking about going to any events, please let us know. Give us a review of the event and tell us whether it's worth going to. So we can actually disseminate that information around the community, and also for our own interest to work out which events are actually worth going to. Feedback's always good. Excellent. So that's the roundup of events in the far distant future. Anyway, and the news. So if you've been watching Bitcoin and its adventures this week, you will see it's broken through the $7,000 mark. This is quite something, and going back to what we've said over the previous few months, it's heading towards $10,000 per Bitcoin by the end of the year, which is what many people are predicting, and people who haven't bought any Bitcoins are saying that Bitcoin is in a bubble. So we shall see. Either way, it's very good for anybody investing in Bitcoins and holding Bitcoins at the moment. Meanwhile, Amazon have registered their own cryptocurrency domains, and that is very interesting because Amazon have said if you are not manufacturing a product, then they want your business, and they are very much into making sure that they have the sole delivery of any items to you. So if they have their own currency as well, that makes them a very powerful force in the market, and something we're going to have to keep an eye on and how that actually manifests itself. Other than that, Simply Vital Health is using blockchain to revolutionise healthcare. We've heard this before, but at the moment we're looking at a healthcare development to try and sort out the American healthcare schemes and to give some control over those schemes. BP and Shell are leading blockchain for energy trading at the moment, and they've got a consortium which is dealing with blockchain-based digital platform for trading energy commodities, and that should be going live in 2018. The US Medical Board Group has launched a blockchain certification pilot as well as many other things going on. But I think the eyes at the moment and the news and speculation is on Bitcoin and what is actually going to happen, especially as Ethereum and Litecoin haven't really done anything. They've stayed pretty stagnant this week. So we will wait and see. Is it going to hit 10,000 or are we in a bubble? Please send your thoughts this way and tell us what you're thinking yourself. Other than that, something to keep an eye on is a few of the items which I've seen on LinkedIn where they're talking about what do you tell your boss when he asks you about blockchain and blockchain within the business. And that's something else which over the last few months has become more prevalent and people have been discussing more. The fact that business is now saying, what can blockchain do for me and what can it do for my business? So expect that to be something very big next year, and a lot of organizations asking that question. What can it do for me? How do I implement it? And what should I be doing to assist that implementation and make that a smooth implementation in my business? That's the news for this week.
Good morning, it's Mark here again, and I'm here to meet Seema and Alastair from Nuggets. And we are going to talk a bit about what is Nuggets, what's the idea behind it, where did the inspiration come from, where Alastair and Seema would like to see it going over the next couple of years, what makes Nuggets stand out from the crowd, I think, and yeah, just a bit about use of blockchain in a real business idea, how you see the blockchain ecosystem and consumers and users and developers working together, and how you see Nuggets being a useful solution for all of us. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
I'm Alastair Johnson, founder and CEO of Nuggets. Shall I talk to my previous?
Yeah.
Previously before Nuggets, I was working at Skype and Microsoft for 4 years, working with product marketing, bringing innovation out to consumers, and doing special projects within, and also doing some of the more day-to-day services. But basically I was very lucky to be able to work with brands like HoloLens, Forza, Xbox, Office, obviously Skype as well throughout there. So a great experience in terms of that. And then previous to that, I had my own company for 10 years in the digital space, doing apps and products in terms of that. And then I've been predominantly in the digital space for 20 plus years.
Brilliant. I'm Seema Khinda-Johnson, co-founder and COO of Nuggets. Previously to joining the Nuggets team, I held leadership positions at Skype and Microsoft as head of go-to-market, but also as a product owner for a live streaming platform. And then really for the last 18 years, I've been predominantly in digital. And, you know, I started my career as a technical project manager, managing large e-commerce platforms. So I've been doing this a long time.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Okay, who'd like to tell me about the inspiration then behind Nuggets? So what is Nuggets, and what are you developing, and what are you hoping we get out of it?
So Nuggets came from a real people problem, initially with myself, where my card details are used fraudulently online somewhere and somehow, and then obviously I got my card cancelled, or I had to cancel my card. It took 2 weeks for that card to come back. In the meantime, Netflix stopped, Amazon orders were stopped. Suddenly I realised that not only did I have those locations with my card details, I had like 100 other locations I had to go back and fill all my credit card details in. And I then realised that it's something that you wouldn't write down your credit card details and your date of birth and such like, and then stick them in the local till in the shop round the corner, but digitally we do, and it's everywhere. So I realised that this was a serious problem and it needed to be resolved, and seeing the breaches that were happening over especially the last few years. And we always refer to Information is Beautiful site, where they've got a data breach visualization, and it goes from AOL back in 2004 to a serious amount of breaches, to the fact that it's like one big splodge of colour on a daily basis, because every business has got a honeyspot silo of personal data in it, and this is being proven on a daily basis that it's a broken model and it doesn't work. So we really believe that for Nuggets, the whole concept was for the users to take back control of their data in future, and then still be able to use those services they love and need online, and that's where it came from.
Right. And there's very relevant timing of this. There's a massive Equifax hack earlier this year, and ramifications of that still happening and still coming out. So I think from a personal basis, it's useful to see that there are solutions in the pipeline to help protect me as the common user from the risks of those things happening. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, and just to add to Alastair's point there as well around the hacking and your point there, right now what we're seeing is it is almost like this perfect storm, but also an ideal opportunity for Nuggets, whereas a year ago potentially it would have been difficult for us to launch Nuggets in this confusing and busy market, whereas right now data is in a critical state. You talked about Equifax there. We've all got 100 online plus accounts, and that's set to double. Regulation's tougher. We've now all got biometrics, technological advances that makes a solution like Nuggets possible. So we feel the time's right now.
Yeah, and also a problem and a need by the consumers. It used to be the thing that no one really worried about it, but now when you talk to a group of people, pretty much 90% of them, if not all of them, have all experienced some level of this problem.
Yeah.
And a friend the other day was like, I was phished on this payment system the other day, and on that, and then you realise that it's just a common occurrence nowadays, unfortunately.
Excellent, okay. And so what are you guys going to be giving me then over the next year or so? What am I going to receive as a potential end user of this?
So basically there'll be an app available which you can download, and when you download it you do 3 photos to verify yourself. So you have a photo ID, we then correlate that with a selfie, which we check the photo ID, the image on that to make sure it's the same. We also do a forensic check on the cards to check that it's not been tampered with in terms of that, and then we add like a personal payment method, and then we correlate all of these to see that you are who you say you are and that your payment method is associated to that. And then this then gives you the potential to then go and use services to either log in, pay or verify your customer ID. But Nuggets is very much focused for the everyday user in the e-commerce environment. So you'll have an app then that you'll be able to go with partner sites and then log in, purchase, and the great one, the example for customer verification, that came from a personal experience where I'd rang up my mobile company after they'd said that they'd been breached, and they asked me for my postcode, my date of birth, and my mother's maiden name, and I was like, "But hasn't everyone on the internet now got that information?"
Yeah, and they so Google it.
And they said, "Yes, but that's the only way we can actually still get you in." Yes, me and the other 3,000 people who are trying to get in on it. So that's an example again where each component along there is working to problems of everyday users in those environments. And the aim is to make it better. So you'll have an app that you can interact and do day-to-day services on the internet.
Yeah, and we've already developed this product. So, you know, I think that's one thing that really sets Nuggets apart, is that we've been in development since the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. We were selected by the UK Financial Conduct Authority as cohort 2 for Project Innovate, because we were seen as a very innovative blockchain solution that would help mitigate fraud. Yeah, absolutely, and that would really help consumers and businesses. So we've actually developed the product that allows users to do single sign-on with their biometrics, to be able to pay one-click payment with their biometrics, and that functionality and product has been tested with a number of consumers as part of the regulatory sandbox, and that feedback now is being incorporated into our current development across Android and iOS, and our APIs that allow businesses to integrate with us. So I think that's really key. And then the other product that Alastair talked about, our ID verification. Imagine a time you call up customer service, and instead of going through the 11th character of your password you set up at one point and have no idea what it was, and going through a forget password loop, now our product will just ping your mobile app, you verify that it's you with the biometrics that are on your device, and you're talking to the customer care representative. So we take down that ID verification from anything from a minute and all that frustration that you go through during that minute, right down to like a number of seconds.
Yeah, but it's still working with day-to-day things like phone calls and stuff like that. You know, sometimes it's like purely in a digital sense, where it's just logging in online and to a store. But we could still do that where they ping your app, and you respond with your biometrics. That's important.
Cool. So you talked about your sandbox environment that you've been working with, or that's been set up for most of the past year, I guess.
Yeah.
And so how much of that is going into your public release? Is that early next year?
Yes, it is. So a lot of it is. So the foundation of what we were testing, and it was all working in the blockchain already. Is that we were testing out just one of our products, which is the iOS platform. Obviously for launch there will be iOS and Android, and there will be a number of APIs that allow us to propagate into e-commerce. So we're building out a Magento API, a Shopify API, and then also on the payment gateway side, Adyen and Stripe. So when a merchant
not just those, also numerous other ones as well.
So they're the ones that we'll be launching with of Q1 of next year. And I think what's key there is that allows us to propagate e-commerce very quickly when a merchant does decide to enable Nuggets. We've done a lot of the heavy lifting essentially. But as far as what we've learned during the sandbox, we were quite astounded by the feedback, and so was the FCA, that unanimously everyone we tested Nuggets with felt that the one-time onboarding process was quick and easy compared to another digital wallet that's widely available and used. Also, they felt that the transaction speed was incredibly fast, to the point where we actually have to slow it down so that users, I know, they were spending money without even realising it, even though all the messages are there. We've all been guilty, not anymore for us. But that's the thing, we actually have to slow it down. We always thought, so I think what was great as well is that, we didn't need to tell the consumers about blockchain or the technical advances. We just had to say, we're utilising the newest technology. You will be incredibly secure when you're making payments, and private, privacy, security, and the ability to make payments. So I think what was really interesting in that, from a consumer comms perspective, and we did a lot of learning, is that the consumer didn't really need to know it was blockchain. They just want the trust and the ease of product use which is inherent in nuggets. So all of that is making the public release.
And a lot of people don't know about it, and it's quite confusing when you try and explain it. That's where the actual name for nuggets came from, because when we was initially explaining it to people who didn't know what blockchain was, we were like, it's like little nuggets of information going around like that. And because we are like a tokenized system at the core, like everything is componentized into a nugget, and that then gives us extra benefits down the line. That if you do choose to pass some information, the merchant gives you value in return for passing that information. So it gives you a true internet of value, rather than everyone else just taking all your private data, storing it, selling it on, and going, thank you very much.
Okay. And I think you touched on it there. You know, blockchain is still developing itself. You know, and a number of the different platforms are growing, and new technologies are kind of coming to the fore to extend it and make it fit for purpose for mass consumption. There's a lot of talk about the scalability of blockchain and the performance and transaction times and security. You kind of mentioned before, Alastair, about zero knowledge stuff and zero knowledge snarks and other technologies are starting to come into the picture. Do you see nuggets, being able to sort of safely adopt those when they become real and become come to the table?
I think that's something that's very important in the way that we've developed this, is that we're aware that this is a moving technology and an evolving technology. So from day one, we've been building it so it can adapt, flex and move across that, and that has been the essential part of how we've been developing from day one. And as these new opportunities come up, in terms of zero knowledge proofs and other principles, we're maximising those as we go along in the way that we did, I guess, when we first started out with blockchain. We saw that was ticking the boxes for a solution that wasn't available 6 months ago, and so every time these new opportunities come in, we're assessing them and maximising them as we go through it.
Excellent. Okay. I see you're working with Addy at Applied Blockchain. He's your CTO.
Yes, that's right.
And I've attended a couple of his seminars and speeches in recent times. So how's that relationship working with Applied Blockchain? What are they bringing to you? What's the deal?
Yeah, so we met Addy about a year and a bit ago when we embarked, actually nearly 2 years ago, when we decided to build out Nuggets.
I mean, basically, what we needed at this stage, because blockchain was so new, we needed to have like a proven team with a proven record in the payments market and stuff like that. And Addy had that skill base, and when we spoke to him, we had. He was excited about the opportunity, and he could see it, and that was something that straight away we gelled together. And then through working together as a team, it's something that's just developed and just got better and better. So we think, rather than us tell you that we've got 4 guys in the room and they're really good, it was a case of like, this is a proven team moving forward.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you see any point in time where you do bring in some more of your own blockchain resources if they become available?
Yeah.
Or is it, have you got a long-term relationship planned with Applied Blockchain?
We've got both, really. We've got a long-term relationship that we've agreed with Addy, and we will continue to work with Addy and our retained team at Applied Blockchain, but also we'll enhance that team, but again with Addy's leadership and input into that. So we're continuing to grow our team, so it's good. Yeah.
We've got a really good story of how we got there in the first place, but we don't know if we should say it because everyone brings Vitalik up. But it was great that Seema, we was like trying to find the best appropriate skill bases out there, and so Seema one day went, I'm just going to email Vitalik Buterin, and we're like going, I was like, is he like the busiest person on the planet? I mean, this is obviously early days of Ethereum.
And his email was on LinkedIn, so I thought, I'm just going to email him, why not, right?
And so we're almost like having a laugh about this is never going to happen. And then 10 minutes later, bless him, he came back and said, if you speak to these people, they'll be able to help you out. Wow. And that's how we came to be working with Addy to this day. And we always have to prove out and show the email later. So we'll show you the email later. But we literally don't talk to it because everyone else says, "Oh yeah, we did this with him and we did that."
We haven't done anything with it.
We just asked him for some help, and it was early days of Ethereum. I'm sure he was keen to assist anyone.
Yeah,
bless him, he did.
And that's sort of indicative, I think, of the freshness and the excitement around the scene. I think those people like Vitalik, like Gavin Woods and others are actually quite happy to talk to people and share. I think that's what I've noticed about this kind of iteration of the technology scene. People are generally happy to share and talk about it. I mean, I was at the London Ethereum meetup recently. You've got people who actively developed blockchain tech, kind of just telling people how it works, and don't always understand it, but it's nice that it's open and shareable, and I think people are generally trying to use it to build a better world. So what do you think about the scene?
I mean, I love it. It is like being part of the early days of the internet again. And what's exciting about that, especially when you compare it to the internet, you saw that it was a very simple thing, and then new principles came out. Suddenly it got used in a whole way that it was never perceived, and it's almost like, I think a lot more people having had that experience have this perception of blockchain is, oh, it could be like that. So we've got a lot more vision around it, but I really do think 2 to 3 years down the line it's going to evolve way beyond what we can think of in now. And what's exciting to us is when we talk about nuggets and that, often we have people come up to us and say, I've got a brilliant application for this, we could use it this and we could use that, and that's actually more exciting. I mean, we've been talking to like global banks and such like, but what really gets me excited is when the guy from the bank turns up and he goes, firstly, I need this, and then secondly, it'd be really useful for my bank as well. But what's interesting, they come as a person first, and that's what energises me, because they're seeing the real need for it. They're going, I need this, my wife needs this, and then they can also see the business needs of it. And all that, in terms of the evolution of technology, is supported around this community where you can go and talk to people. People are excited to talk about their point of views, the angles. You're getting these groups of people coming together on identity and things like that, which are brilliant concepts in terms of that. So the community is really supportive, and it's something that when you're in the big corporate world, everyone's seeing that either you're writing a big check so everyone is happy to see you, or you're trying to knock on the doors, so it's a different relationship. It's suddenly in this community of startup and evolving technology, everyone's really sincere in terms of they do want to help you. The amount of people have got involved, connected us and introduced us and been willing to talk, and likewise when we meet people the other way, we're the same. It's actually a lovely warm feeling to have.
It's great. It's nice, isn't it? I've been really interested in blockchain for almost a year myself. I kind of was aware of Bitcoin and stuff like that previously, but started to make it a hobby and make it an interest this year. And it does feel like that. There's always something going on. Always something you can go and listen to and attend. I've even got my girlfriend into it. She attended the Women in Blockchain event beginning of last week, I think it was. She works for UK government as well. That's where we met. And yeah, she can see actually her problems, her work problems and personal problems. There's maybe an application for that. It is all about making identity better, making trust better, and there's a heck of a lot of those challenges in government, I can tell you. How do you think blockchain and this new technology stands up from a diversity point of view? I think that's always a challenge. You go to a technology event and mostly it's full of guys like me, of a certain age possibly, some with ponytails, some not, some with beards, some not. Technology has been quite a male-dominated scene. Do you think blockchain-related technology differs? Is it better?
I think I've actually come across more women in leadership in blockchain and talking at events, whether they're from the banking perspective and they're part of an innovation team, or if from a development team as well. I mean, our development team includes women. So I actually think it stacks up pretty well. I think technology has always had a bit of an issue on it being over-indexed with male, and that's just because, you know, a lot of these organisations have had male leadership, and, you know, you do recruit who you relate to. But I do think, you know, what's brilliant with these, you know, whether it's blockchain, women-focused event, whether it is the events, I'm definitely bumping into a hell of a lot more women than I've ever done from a technology perspective. So I do think it's attracting a different type of person. So, because it's also incredibly exciting, right? Who doesn't want to be part of this new technological revolution? So it's incredibly exciting, and hopefully will attract the best talent, whether it's female or male.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the token generation event, shall we? What are your hopes for that? When does it start? And when's it run to? And what are you hoping to achieve apart from maybe an injection of some funding? And what are you going to do with that funding?
Yeah, so the token now, the pre-sale started on the 24th of October. The public sale is on the 14th of November. And basically, the way that we've come from industry and product build and stuff is we built out incredibly detailed financials in terms of what we needed for the period to get us to a profit model.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
Seema can talk
yeah,
about
absolutely. So our whole token sale, it's being managed by Argon, so we're incredibly lucky to be working with a very reputable firm that has a number of very good token sales under its belt, and we've been working with them since the beginning of the summer. So previously to that, we were looking at doing a normal equity type fundraise, and, you know, even for the last year and a half, 2 years, we've put together very detailed financials that take us into profitability. So they actually define capex, they define what our true capital needs are until Nuggets turns a profit in year 4. So we were able to go to Argon and say, look guys, this is what we need over the period, and that informed the token sale. So there's a number of tokens, 17.5%, that are up for sale during the pre-sale on a 20% discount. And then from the 14th of November, we start a public sale, and, you know, that doesn't have the 20% discount. Yeah. And then really the hope is that we generate enough revenue, create a really great network effect with users that become a real advocate for Nuggets. I mean, this is the thing with Nuggets, is that it is addressing real people issue, it is addressing cybersecurity from a business perspective as well. And with the token sale, we want to onboard as many advocates for Nuggets as we possibly can, alongside, obviously, enough revenue so that we can build out Nuggets. And then to talk a little bit about how we're going to use that funding. The majority, like I said, you know, we've got detailed financials that underpin the token sale. The majority of the fundraise will be used on platform, product development, then followed by sales and marketing, followed by paid-for partnerships, so that we can ensure that Nuggets is available at the checkout, to increase the value for those that have purchased tokens, but also our user base. And then that's followed by key staffing, operations, and then legal, tax and regulatory for whenever we launch in a different market.
Okay, cool. And so you touched on, you could probably have done this without an ICO, without a token generation, probably, because you built up a case, you built your traditional financials, if you like, and I guess my feeling, and I don't know if this is shared by our listener base, I sense there might be kind of an almost ICO fatigue out there. There is a lot going on, and some work and some don't. But it heartens me that, you know, it sounds like you've done the homework, you've engaged reputable partners in that space with Argon. I'm really interested in the kind of network effect side of things, that you thought about that. Establishing a platform, which is what you are doing, is not an easy thing, I think, whether it's a kind of private internal enterprise platform or public platform like this is going to be. So yeah, it heartens me that I think you guys know what you're talking about. You've done your homework, and you're addressing those things that make it make it not just another ICO, so it's hopefully that some of our listeners will investigate and participate in your public sale.
Yeah, can we add there as well? Sorry, brilliant. Is that part of the token sale is that Nuggets at its heart is a tokenized system, and actually when we were going out to see the traditional VCs, especially in the States, they could see it before we could, because we obviously minds were stuck. Even though we've deployed this new technology, we were definitely coming from the UK, which tends to be more on the equity fundraising side of things. We were going to meet the traditional VCs, and they could actually in the States see it before we did, and they said, you guys have got a tokenized system there. And when we looked at that, we realised we absolutely did. Every time someone downloads our product, we reward them in tokens. When they use it for login, payment or ID verification, we reward them with the tokens. And so essentially it is a tokenized system. Every time they refer, we reward in tokens. Alastair, do you want to add anything there on the tokenized part of Nuggets?
No, I think it was going to be tokenized with or without an ICO. It was just it sat, and what was interesting when people approached us, they were like, look, there's a lot of noise out there, but this is resolving a real problem. Again, people could see that it was coming at a problem angle, and it was a natural fit with token usage within it. So that's what was really exciting, that people actually were hunting us out and finding us from because we were sort of standing out from all the other noise and things like that. And it was almost like that they suggested and convinced us that we should be doing this, rather than it was the first thing to go out there.
Believe me, it was hard. Fundraising is incredibly hard, whether you're doing a token sale or you're doing an equity fundraise, and it's tough. And we were self-funded for a long time, and it's been tough. Like product development always is. But we do believe, given that we have a product already, given that we've already been testing with the FCA with actual consumers and we're feeding that back, we have a proven blockchain development team that has already built real-life applications of the technology. And given what we talked about as far as the climate goes, it's time for Nuggets. So hopefully our token sale will kick off this network effect that will keep going into the following year, and we'll be able to deliver an awesome product that solves a real need that needs to be met.
And I think what's amazing about token sales, and I really do think we will have a spike of innovation historically at this point, whereas yesterday it was decided by conventional venture capital or businesses or corporates. Literally there's people out there saying, I need this, I want this, and I've got the ability to influence that and enable it for the future. And which we see happening with ours and other products that are picked up by that community. And it is really a community that gets to make that decision on going, this is needed in the future. And that for me is really exciting. I do think as a whole there will be a historical spike in innovation.
Well, it's very helpful that UK consumers will be receiving emails and mails from Equifax over the next couple of weeks, I think, telling them about what to do next. So you might have a captive audience there for people who want to participate. So,
it wasn't done by us as a marketing Just like to clarify.
Well, I think that's got over my questions. Is there anything else you guys want to pitch and ask our audience or ask for feedback from our audience?
I think the big thing for us is, like I say, when we talk to people about Nuggets and they start to realise the potential of it, some very exciting opportunities, and we really do want the community to work with us and suggesting ideas and development. So hopefully as we continue throughout the years, people are working with us on a very close basis to evolve the solution, make it better for all of us. And I think my experience in previous industry is sometimes the user base comes up with the best idea of all, and it takes a good business to say, actually, let's do that and move it, rather than just say, let's only do what we thought of the other day.
Yeah.
So that for me is exciting, and the willingness of people to come up and talk in this community that exists.
Okay, great. Well, we'll put it to our audience and see what they come back with, and we'll let you know.
Yeah, Thank you very much.
Okay, well thank you very much, both of you. It's been really interesting and exciting meeting, and I'm certainly interested in your product, and I'll go and do a bit more investigation myself and see how much free ether I've got to contribute.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
To learn more, visit theblockchainshow.com. Are you looking for an easy way to buy Bitcoin or Ether on a safe, secure platform? Coinbase is the easiest place to buy and sell digital currencies. Sign up today as a friend of the Blockchain Show, and if you buy or sell $100 of Bitcoin or more, you'll earn $10 of free Bitcoin for yourself and $10 of Bitcoin to support this show. Join now using the link in this episode's show notes.